What's up, comrades? It's been a little while. Life has been a bit busy with a new edition 10 months ago, which I've been super fortunate to be able to stay at home with up until now. Just back working a little bit and, leave it to Biden and the Democrats to come up with a solution, in air quotes, that pisses everybody off, that doesn't make anybody happy, that doesn't really actually solve or fix anything when it comes to student loan debt. Which, again, you talk to people in most other industrialized countries, even including a country 90 miles off the shore of the US, a country that the United States has been trying to overthrow for 6+ decades, obviously talking about Cuba. They have universal higher education. They have universal health care. And there's about 1.7 trillion in student loan debt in the United States. And Biden, I believe, when he was campaigning during 2020, campaigned on canceling 50,000 of it, which, again, cancel all of it. Targeted universality. You have universal programs disproportionately benefit the people that need it the most. In this case, obviously, the working class. People of color in particular are saddled with a lot more student loan debt than their white counterparts. And I was just listening, because I guess I'm a glutton for punishment, some right-wing talk radio on my way to the store on my lunch break here, and there was all framing, this is bad, we suffered, so they should also suffer. What's wrong with paying off your debts and all this fucking stupid shit. Not to mention the fact that you should be able to go to college, whether it's community, to get your bachelor's, master's, PhD, just simply to be able to enrich yourself, to increase your knowledge base, to explore new ideas, ways of thinking. That should be celebrated. That should be rewarded. That shouldn't be punished. People should not be shackled with tens, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loan debt, either because they wanted to pursue that knowledge simply to pursue it for their own fulfillment or to improve their career prospects. And again, what is the Democrats? What was Biden's solution? Cancel 10,000 of it for some people. What is it? If you make less than $125,000 a year, 10,000 of it's canceled. If you have a Pell Grant, I think it's 15 or 20. And a lot of people have made the point, okay, 10,000, that's going to be that's interest payments, a couple years of interest payments. Boom, that's $10,000 right there that you just secured right back. And it's just fucking ridiculous. But typical, liberal mindset give you just the bare minimum, and it's not even for everybody. You got to means test it. That is, peak neoliberalism, right? Means testing and just giving you crumbs when you need the whole goddamn 3 fucking layer cake. And then there's some people who are listening to Sean Hannity, because again, I'm a glutton for punishment, and I just like listening to talk radio, even when it's horrible right-wing conservative just bullshit like Sean Hannity. And he was saying, well, this isn't gonna help inflation. Well, again, as the great Marxist socialist professor of economics Richard Wolff points out, inflation is simply when prices go up. Who raises prices? The employers. Who are the employers? Less than 1% of the population. The capitalist class are the ones raising prices. It's not the employees. It's not the people that work at the grocery stores. It's not the people that work at the gas stations. It is the capitalist class. So again, if you really wanted to control prices so they're not skyrocketing, for example, was at Costco yesterday, watermelon there, $9, used to be $5 or $6. If you actually want to control prices for something, you nationalize that industry, and that you're able to put price caps on it while still obviously also paying the people that produce it a decent wage. So again, you want to make sure gas prices don't skyrocket from time to time. Nationalize the oil companies, nationalize the electric companies, nationalize, all these different industries that price gouge people. So again, like the Republicans, the conservatives, which again, they're very far right, and then right-wing Democrats were always going to be against any type of student loan cancellation, no matter how milquetoast, no matter how weak, which again, exactly what Biden did. So you might as well just fucking cancel all of it, because that's going to disproportionately help the people most impacted by it. Again, that's called targeted universality, and universal programs have more political staying power than these ones where you just single out, a particular, group or strata of a group. Not to mention the fact that some people have this ridiculous notion that, well, canceling student loan debt just benefits the rich people. You fucking, what? Rich people, families that come from wealth, they pay for that shit, and they're more than likely going to go to private school, or they're going to go to Yale or to Harvard or to Princeton. Rich people do not have fucking student loan debts, you doofuses out there parodying that ridiculous and completely false talking point. And again, like, just the Cuba example, the United States has been trying to overthrow that government since, was it 59, I think, the Cuban Revolution. They have universal health care. They export doctors. What does the United States export all around the world? Death and destruction. Jesus fucking Christ. Bernie, I definitely think he needs to be a lot further left on certain issues, particularly his foreign policy is pretty weak. He's been supporting the Ukraine, the proxy war in Ukraine, and now you have the Ukrainian Secret Service having these assassination attempts in Russia against Alexander Dugin's daughter, right? And anyways, that's a bit of a drift, but I was going to say, at least if Bernie was elected, he campaigned on canceling all student loan debt. I believe he actually would have done that. Anything Biden says or does one day does not mean he's going to do that the next day, because he's so full of shit. His whatever is politically convenient for him at the time, he will say or do. But again, if he actually cared about this issue, he would have went a lot further, because I was reading part of this political profile about Joe Biden, and one of the things the writer who was shadowing him, writing this profile about him, said about Joe Biden is that if he actually cares about an issue, he will fight, he will stand up to make sure he does whatever he can to get that to where it needs to be from his perspective. And one of the things that was really important to him was getting the United States, at least out of Afghanistan, which he did, obviously very haphazard way. And the United States is aiding in the starvation of millions of people in that country by holding, I believe it's 9 billion, something like that, of Afghanistan's money from them, because we don't like who's in power there, literally starving that country to death. But he cared about that issue, so he got the troops out. He doesn't really give a shit about the working class, honestly, or he would have canceled all student loan debt. He would have supported Medicare for all, etc., etc. So he doesn't really care. He just maybe thought he could do a little bit and it would help the Democrats out, maybe politically in the midterms, or maybe in 2024 for the presidential election at that time. But again, this is peak liberal, peak Democrat. Do something that actually doesn't move the needle substantially while pissing off everybody at the same time. Again, conservatives, Democrats, we're never going to really be in support of this issue, at least the further to the right ones, because again, Democrats are very much a right-wing party. Republicans are just further to the right, particularly on social issues. But just fucking ridiculous, but not surprising, right? Just like, Biden promised people to get more money if they elected the two senators in Georgia, right? Warnock and Ossoff. That happened. Didn't get. Still waiting for that money, right? So not super surprising. And again, Joe Biden, as a senator, was one of the people who made it impossible to cancel student loans through bankruptcy. You can't file for bankruptcy using your student loan debt. You can't get rid of it through bankruptcy. One of the people you have to thank for that is Joe Biden. So it's not super surprising that he wasn't going to go more than 10,000, which again doesn't really do anything to substantially help people, particularly the people that need it the most. And again, obviously higher education should be treated like a human right, just like healthcare, housing, water, food, electricity, etc., etc. But in a capitalist hellhole such as the United States, it is not. All of those things are not treated like that, because in a capitalist system, again, profits come before everything, before human life, before the life of the natural world around us. Obviously, to all of our detriment, while the tiny capitalist class at the top is able to enrich themselves astronomically, while a vast majority struggle mightily day to day. So again, this isn't surprising that Joe Biden did this. It's very mild, just bullshit. 10,000 cancellation for some. It's peak Joe Biden. It's peak liberalism. We shouldn't be surprised, but we should be, outraged that we live in this type of system, when so much more is possible. There's enough wealth and resources in this country, in the world, for everybody to have a very high standard of living, for people not having to work themselves to death, for people having, access to, whatever they need to have a life of fulfillment. But that's not what we have in the United States currently. In any country that actually tries to chart their own course and look out for their people, the United States can't have that, right? So not surprising, but still deeply disgusting nonetheless. Peace, much love. Hope this finds you well. I might do a quick live chat every once in a while when the time allows. Had a little lunch break here. Got to get back to work in a little bit, but hope this finds you well, comrades. Peace, much love, all power to the people. Capitalism is the virus, socialism, and then communism, obviously, because that's the highest stage of socialism, is the cure. Peace, much love.